The reality is that The Elder Scrolls 6 will most likely be a disappointment to us all. It's a tragedy that such a highly anticipated game, with hype starting all the way back in 2014, is seemingly doomed. For those who've watched me for a long period of time, you might be asking why I'm making this video, especially because I'm an Elder Scrolls YouTuber. Well, over a year ago I published a video polemically titled Why the Elder Scrolls 6 Will Fail, and obviously this video was published before Fallout 76, and a lot of people were upset that I suggested The Elder Scrolls 6 might not be this amazing, fantastic game. One of the main criticisms of my argument was that I was judging the game before it had come out, so my video was nothing more than hearsay clickbait. But I think a lot of people misjudged why I made that video. I made the last video because I felt like there was so much discussion anticipating how amazing The Elder Scrolls 6 would be, so my argument was wholly reactionary to that. I ultimately suggested that The Elder Scrolls 6 would inevitably fail because A, there's no way it could live up to the hype, and B, because the trajectory of the series so far seems to suggest that the game will move towards trying to please a wider audience, meaning it would inevitably become less RPG-like. I think it's important to make these sorts of negative, speculative videos, to have a poke at the possibility that a future game that we all want to succeed will fail. As I said, it's so easy to jump on the hype train and endlessly hope that a game will be good, but if we temper that and try to consider why an anticipated title might not be so good, then we will either be pleasantly surprised if the game turns out to be good, or prepared for the disappointment if it's bad. I'm making this video now because I want to reconsider my argument in the light of recent developments. Most importantly, and obviously, the disastrous release of Fallout 76. The sad truth is that Fallout 76 tells us a number of things about Bethesda and the journey the company is on. What had started with Creation Club in 2017, Creation Club being a system where you pay to add mods to your game, seems to have logically progressed to this full microtransaction system in Fallout 76, and this was accompanied with a variety of bugs, which basically meant that the vast majority of people abandoned Fallout 76, like me. It's abundantly clear that Bethesda are aiming to make more money, and there are numerous reports, and indeed some people predicted, that Fallout 76 was created solely because The Elder Scrolls Online had made ZeniMax so much money, ZeniMax being the parent company. Thus, Bethesda sought to replicate the online multiplayer model with in-game transactions in the Fallout universe. I think it's fair to say that ZeniMax have a lot of control over Bethesda as their parent company, and so no doubt they're forcing Bethesda somewhat to make games that they think will make them more money. This money-making trend could well carry on into The Elder Scrolls 6, and I hope with all my heart that this won't be the case. I hope Bethesda learn their lesson and realise that no one wants to play a shitty cash-grabbing game, but I can't help but fear. I'm not a betting man, but with the current trajectory of Bethesda Game Studios, I will be surprised if The Elder Scrolls 6 doesn't feature some sort of system where you have to pay for better cosmetics or some sort of premium mods or something stupid like that. I'm going to come back to a point now that I made in my previous video. I argued that there would be so much hype that The Elder Scrolls 6 would inevitably fail. I like to think that this notion is weakened now because of the release of Fallout 76. I think a lot of people are pessimistic about what The Elder Scrolls 6 will be like, but I think this is generally still a problem. Everyone wants The Elder Scrolls 6 to be a certain type of game. There are some, let's call them fundamentalists, who want to return to a Morrowind style game that excludes a wider audience in favour of pleasing a more niche audience. I would probably consider myself among this grouping. Then there are those who simply want a Skyrim 2.0, the casual fans who enjoyed Skyrim and want another similar experience. And then there are those who want change. In the light of the likes of The Witcher 3, Kingdom Come Deliverance, they feel that the next game needs to be changed and it needs to be new to compete with such strong RPGs as The Witcher 3. I think the only way The Elder Scrolls 6 can be realistically successful and not a disappointment is if it returns to its RPG elements, but at the same time embarks on something new. The best games are never those games that are exactly how you expect them to be. Good games are almost always a surprise, and those that you anticipate being amazing are almost always a disappointment. I think Bethesda need to stay true to the RPG genre, but innovations are needed to make sure the next game will please the majority of people within the RPG genre. Bethesda needs to learn from the mistakes they made with Fallout 76. This was a game that had initial sales 82% below those of Fallout 4. I think the top team at Bethesda would literally have to be vegetables not to see that Bethesda fans want a visceral, meaningful and well-made RPG game. But I've been talking about how The Elder Scrolls 6 might be successful if Bethesda changed. And the truth is that I think the next game will actually probably fail. I don't think it will fail in terms of sales, but it will probably fail in terms of acclaim, because I don't think the next game will be different from Skyrim in a good way. The changes Bethesda are likely to introduce will improve the ability of Bethesda to make money off the game. Now this is a sad prospect because you would absolutely hope that Bethesda would learn from their mistakes, but there are numerous instances where big developers have ignored the failures of their previous games and simply made the same mistakes again. Destiny 2 was basically a remake of the first Destiny game, and Star Wars Battlefront 2 made scarcely any improvements on its predecessor, despite loads of criticism. So in this light, I'm reluctant to confidently suggest, as others have, that Bethesda will learn from their mistakes and produce an amazing Elder Scrolls 6. I can preemptively suggest that there are going to be people labelling me a disillusioned pessimist, but again, I think you misunderstand the nature of my argument. I want the Elder Scrolls 6 to be the best Elder Scrolls game yet. I absolutely love the previous games, and I make Elder Scrolls videos, so it's in my best interests for the next game to be amazing. But at the same time, I'm not going to bury my head in the sand and refute the possibility that the next game may suck. So this video, more than anything, is an exploration of that negative possibility. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you don't know, I'm currently doing a let's play of the Shire mod for Skyrim with other mods installed as well, so if you want to check that out then head over to my channel. Anyway, thanks again and I'll see you in the next one.